Hi, my name's Sam from WTM Sydney. I first became aware of the explanation of the human condition presented by Jeremy Griffith back in 1993 when I read his second book, Beyond the Human Condition. When I was given a copy of the book at that point in my life, I was in my early 20s. And what struck a chord with me on reading Beyond was the implications of the Adam Stork analogy, which Jeremy depicts on page 26 of Beyond. To provide some context of sort of where I was at, if you like, psychologically, emotionally in my life at that point, like, as I say, I was in my early 20s, and something that, if you like, in my deeper self, that I was in a state of frustration, distress, unhappiness about, was, if you like, coming to grips with, man's brutality, our capacity for brutality, seeing that in the world without, and also starting to see that in myself. And in particular, a sort of, if you like, an insatiable desire for power, fame, fortune, and glory, and not understanding where the drive for that that need came from, and the capacity to pursue that, notwithstanding the self-sacrifice and the hurt and the impacts that was having on relationships and other people around men, if you like. And in that state of distress, I was, really quite critical, not necessarily outwardly, but nonetheless, the reaction I was having towards that was one of criticism and condemnation, and in a sense judging that as bad, because that's how it appears, if you like, superficially, and no understanding. There's no conversation around, well, why is that happening? And that, if you like, it's that context for why reading the Adam Stork analogy for me was so profound, because what it did is it completely turned the tables on how I felt and thought about that, and my perception of that. It turned it 180 degrees. And in particular, it explained if you like, this seemingly inexplicable paradox of how we humans, men in particular, could be good when we appear bad, when there's so much apparent evidence that we are, bad, flawed, imperfect. And for me, what was so significant about the Adam Stork analogy is that it provided a rational reason, anchored in biology, for why, if you like, men in particular were not the villains of the story, but actually were the heroes of the story. And again, like I said, providing, not just asserting that and saying, that's sort of coming up with as a nice story or an idea, but actually based in a logical explanation, this concept of the clash between our instinct and our intellect, and that provided me with a reason that really resonated both intellectually and emotionally, that this is unbelievable. This makes so much sense of why there's that drive for that insatiable desire for power, fame, fortune, and glory. It explains the denial of why we aren't talking about it. And like I said, there was a sense of euphoria or unbelievable relief about making that realization. And something I particularly wanted to touch on was one of the aspects that Jeremy talks about in this drawing that he does of Adam Stork, in particular, Upset Adam, the chap who's, if you like, trying to fulfill his conscious mind and fly off course, is this clenched fist here. And for me, the symbolism of that clenched fist is so significant, because it represents this defiance, if you like, of in truth all humans, where notwithstanding the self-sacrifice, the price that's being paid for flying off course, there had to be this courage and this defiance to actually block out our cooperative, loving, instinctive self or soul, and not just fly back on course. We had to do that. And it just helps connect me with how brave and heroic and how painful that is, to actually have defied this kind, loving, pure aspect of ourselves, but ultimately for a heroic purpose. And what if you like, this analogy explains for me is that what resonated so deeply was that, and what I understood as making this information so unique, is that it's only through bringing understanding and compassion to the upset and actually explaining its psychological cause that you can actually fundamentally do anything about it. It just made so much sense to me and resonated so deeply that whatever we, if you like, from that initial position I had, if you continue to condemn and criticize and not able to have empathy towards where is that upset coming from, you only escalate that. And that's the situation the world's in at the moment, where, you know, prior to this explanation, there's only been increasing levels of reason to think that arrive at the conclusion that we are imperfect, we're a fallen or failed species. And for me, that was what made so much sense, that it's only, if you like, it's counterintuitive, it's only through explaining why we're upset and bringing a compassionate understanding to that, do you actually unlock the potential for all that upset behaviour to subside. And as I said, it's just, the best way I can describe it is it just turned the tables on my perception of that 180 degrees. There was an immense sense of relief and a sense of it really resonating, that, you know, if you're wanting to do something, if you're upset and distressed about that upset state, the way to do something about it is through compassion and understanding of it. No amount of pleading that we, in a sense, just blindly fly back on course, all that's going to do is compound the upset. And that was really significant for me. And I just sort of, I suppose, you know, following on from that, I could see that humans would, you know, prefer or were capable of destroying themselves and the planet. That's the, if you like, the madness at one level, but the commitment to the fact that we are fundamentally good and divine, that we are going to stay welded to that in the face of all that criticism, even if it results in the planet being destroyed. And if you like, in the nick of time, what this explanation does, you know, as I said, it's anchored in the biology. It provides the rational explanation for how we became upset, that it is a psychological issue. And yeah, for me, unbelievably profound. And obviously was extremely thankful, and, you know, have been supporting the information since that time. So I just wanted to share that with you. And yeah, I'd be keen to hear about your journey and what, if, you know, when you're early in the information, what, if anything, in particular resonated. Hope that helps, and thanks for listening.